Cooking Crave, brought to you by ENG Lending, your area's #1 choice for home loans. 456loan.com.
Coming up on today's show, we have 2 recipes with ham and eggs. It's easy and they're delicious. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne Dede.
And we have 2 recipes that we're going to show our viewers today about ham and eggs.
Goes together.
I think of Dr. Seuss.
That's right.
But the difference is we have hard-boiled eggs for the most part. So
it's a little unusual.
It's a different twist. It's a different twist.
It is.
So if you want to cook along with us, we are going to be making a ham and egg casserole and then a puffy ham and egg quiche today.
Yes.
All right. Write down these ingredients if you want to cook along with us. For the ham and egg casserole, you're going to need 2 medium cooked potatoes, 4 hard-boiled eggs, a cup of fully cooked ham, a ½ teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, a regular large egg, 1½ cups of sour cream, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and a tablespoon of butter.
They're easy ingredients.
Right. And then for the quiche, you're going to need a box of frozen puff pastry, 8 ounces of ham, 4 hard-boiled eggs, 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese, a beef bouillon cube, a 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, a tablespoon of parsley, 2 eggs, and 4 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
All right. Which one are we going to start with?
Well, actually, we're going to start with the quiche first because that one does bake a little longer. Have the oven on at 375, and it'll bake for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
And stuff. So, and that we put into a nice pie plate here. And so I got the puff pastry.
And this is a little bit bigger than a normal pie plate, though.
It is. It's about 12 inches, but you know, I just felt comfortable with all the ingredients that it's just going to be a nice size. But if you have like a 10-inch, I think you're going to be fine.
Or can somebody put it into a smaller rectangular pan?
Rectangular or absolutely.
Okay.
And stuff. So it's going to work either way. So I do have one of the crusts that we're put on the bottom, and then it does have the crust on top too. So it's going to be a crust on both sides. I'm going to just roll that out a little bit here. The only thing it's not round, but by the time we get done, it'll be round.
Okay.
We'll make it round. So.
And that's not why I asked if you had it, could use a different pan. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I know I don't have this size pan in my kitchen. Mm-hmm. But I might have a smaller, I don't know what, a smaller 9x13. I mean, not the full 9x13.
11 by 7. In fact, I think I have one right there and stuff.
Yeah.
So absolutely, that would work. Okay, I think got that rolled out here. So then. That crust. And you know, this crust is a little bit different than your normal pie crust. I could have floured it a little bit, but I usually not. So we'll get that rolled back.
Next one we'll maybe put a little spritz of flour on.
Yeah.
It's not ripping, it's just sticking a little bit.
Just a little bit. But with the pastry sheet here, it works quite well. So we'll just get that evened out here. And I'm going to get a knife, and actually what I'm going to do is just trim this off here, and right here where it doesn't come up as high, I'm just going to patch it.
Yeah, when you cut it and you eat it, nobody's going to know.
That's right. It'll be so good they won't even be thinking of that. And the thing is, and I do, and I think it was kind of like my error when I picked this up, And like I said, I don't normally buy this. So this, in fact, this is the first time I have. And there was 2 boxes and I didn't pay attention, whatever. And I think the other one actually was round.
Oh, there you go.
And that. So you can have the round or the rectangle and just be able to fix it. There we go.
Well, it's just like a little puzzle, so.
That's right. And it worked well. What we're going to do first then is put the 2 cups of ham, chopped ham, on the bottom.
Okay. And as Mom and I were discussing earlier, we might have done this show, last month, after, Easter when, you might have boiled eggs or ham, but I think you can make this any time of year.
Absolutely. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slice 4 boiled eggs and just layer them in there.
Okay. And you have a little tidbit on boiled eggs, as our viewers are seeing us put these in here. How do you make your eggs so nice that they don't get that grayish tinge to them?
And that happens if you boil them too long. Mm-hmm. And another thing too, peeling the eggs. I have a double boiler in my cookware set, and you put a little bit of water in that double boiler or the kettle and bring that to a boil. You put the eggs in the double boiler and put it on top, and say that your water's to a boil. You turn the heat down to about 15 minutes. 50 minutes, medium heat. And then with the eggs, I had a dozen eggs in there, and when I do a dozen, I put it on at 18 minutes. And this is what...
so the eggs aren't in the water at all?
They're not in the water, and that helps them peel so much easier. They peel really nice and that, so it is. And if you have less, if I'm doing like 6 eggs, I'll probably only do 15 minutes versus 18.
Okay.
So it does make a little bit of difference of the quantity of your eggs when you put in there. So.
Okay.
But like I say, you can see that, the egg yolk is just perfect. It's exactly what we would want it to be. So we layered that on top. And, that just gives a nice even covering there. So like you talked about, even a rectangular pan, it would be, you'd have enough to cover very nicely.
Sure.
So now we're going to cover that with the cheese.
And this is a mozzarella cheese that we got here? Or
It is asking for mozzarella cheese. Actually, I didn't have. I thought I had last night when I went to look. But it's Italian, and you know what? It's got the mozzarella and provolone cheese and stuff. So it works out great. Yes. And provolone cheese is excellent too for when you're making a quiche. So we got that. Now we're going to go ahead and beat 2 eggs. And what we did was it asked for a 1/4 cup of evaporated milk, warmed that up a little bit, and then I put the bouillon in theirs.
Oh, okay.
So it melts it. Now I use, like I said, the bouillon paste. It says for a cube, but your paste is going to be just fine. So I'm going to just whip this up. Okay, and so it's just double checking, and we whip our eggs, and then we put the parsley in there. Is that correct?
yes.
And one thing, this recipe here doesn't ask for any extra seasoning, pepper, salt, or whatever. You can certainly add the pepper. Salt, I would probably be a little leery about adding.
Especially with all the cheese.
The cheese, the ham, and all that, that's going to... you don't want to get it too salty. You can always add the salt. So we put the parsley in there, and now I'm going to put my bouillon and evaporated milk. And I did have evaporated milk, so that was easy to use. You know, and it's only a 1/4 cup, so unless you think you're not going to use that others, you could even use 1/2 and 1/2.
Okay.
Or cream and add a little bit of milk to it. You know, it's still going to be very good and not wasting that whole can of
Yeah,
evaporated
just depends
milk.
on what you use in your kitchen.
Right. So there. And then it says 4 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. I know that I had a little bit more there. Just mix that up well. So then we're going to just pour that over the top, correct?
That is correct. And then we're just going to bake it for 45 minutes. We're going to just let the oven do the work.
Yeah, good. So, you know, that's very easy. Now we might just spread that Parmesan cheese out a little bit with a fork here yet too, to get that a little bit more evened out. And the other, the ham and egg casserole calls for 4 boiled eggs also. So
Okay.
we've already got that done. Okay. And so I will just,
And so we need to put the remaining crust on top.
correct. And so what I will probably do is go find some flour.
Just a little.
Yeah.
It might go a little bit better for
Yeah.
you. Not that it went bad previously.
No, it worked out well. But just, this will help pick up. And what I always like, I don't want, you know, when I make pie crusts, and so often it doesn't stick without flour, to get more flour in there, because the, you know, the less it's going to make it a little bit not as flaky as if,
Right.
you know, yeah, so.
Just enough so it doesn't stick.
Yeah. And just put this out to like kind of at room temperature. And there, I'm gonna fix this right away. I'm gonna put this on the corners here, take the corners off. And then I can just roll that right there.
You can tell you've been doing this a couple times.
I've learned how to patch. Okay. So we'll there. And put that on top. And as you can see, this, like we talked about the pie plate, it's like a 12-inch. And so we have plenty of dough for the top of that. You know, it's not like we're going to be short.
Right.
Whatever, so. But the main thing, you make sure you take out your pastry from the freezer and let that unthaw. You could take it out the night before and just let it unthaw in the fridge.
Sure.
Just squeeze that there.
And there would be no reason if you do make your own pastry dough why you just couldn't use your own as well.
Yeah.
This is just going to be a little bit quicker.
A little bit quicker. It has a little bit of different texture than pie crust, though. It's
Right.
gonna
I
be a
mean,
little
you'd
bit
have to
thick.
use a pastry dough.
Yeah.
That's a big sized quiche.
It is. And there's plenty of filling in there for that size. That's why I think an 8.
You might have an
oh,
overflowing problem.
Very much so. A 10, I think you're just barely, I mean, it might be pretty full. That's where, like you said, I would probably go with the
A little bit
11
smaller.
by 17.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to just make a couple of air slits here for that. And I could have done that before I put it on here. It doesn't say that in the recipe, but to me, when you put on a crust like that and seal it tight, you want a little bit of air vents through it.
Yeah.
So we're going to put that in the oven, and it's already at 375. And we're going to put that at 45 minutes.
All right.
Okay. And this extra dough, we will be making a little pie plate out of, put cinnamon sugar on because your dad loves that.
Yep.
And stuff. So we're going to have this and our other recipe here. Let's just.
So this is our ham and egg casserole.
Yes. So what I'm going to do here, it says 2 medium eggs, and you want that boiled, or you want them soft already.
Potatoes.
Oh, I said eggs.
You did. Do we
Thank
need
you.
to spray this?
We will. And in fact, I think I have the spray in my other side of the cupboard over there.
All right.
Yeah. So let's spray that. And what I'm going to do is, I was thinking there, but I don't think that's as big as I want. I'm going to get a little bit bigger measuring pitcher to get that all filled in there. Because it says, you know, we're going to add the potatoes. And I did just cook them this morning, and they are, I mean, just took it off. They're still warm.
Okay.
So I'll add the salt, or the pepper to it.
And that was 2 medium egg potatoes, you said.
Correct. And I peeled them, and I actually sliced them right away and boiled them that way. This way it went really fast.
Oh, okay.
But I had it sliced just like you're making fried potatoes.
Sure.
That, so we'll get this. And we're going to add this one is only a cup of ham.
Okay.
Chopped ham. And then we're going to the other egg. And we'll just put it in here. And I'll just beat up that other egg.
So both of these recipes, again, aren't hard at all.
No, they're not. And not any one of these calls for anything unusual that you may not already have in your cupboard. So.
Sure.
So we're going to add that raw egg in here.
I mean, you might have to go to the grocery store like for the previous recipe for the puff pastry.
And to have that, but yet.
But that could be said for any ingredients if you don't have sour cream or anything on hand, depending on how you normally cook.
All right, and then it says 1.5 cups of sour cream. So I want to get a little smaller spatula there. So you're just mixing all this in there. And the eggs, we will actually be just cutting. I'll cut them 2 ways, you know, so they're more like chopped instead of just sliced.
Okay.
Now this one isn't asking for any, you know, extra like cheese or anything like that. So the sour cream is, you know, the liquid that it's taken in there.
So they're going to have 2 distinct tastes, you know, being other one has cheese, and think of like as a normal quiche.
Right, and this is a casserole, you know. This is more like a main dish, you know, like you would do lunch or dinner or whatever, because the ham and potatoes, and you're mixing that sour cream up in there.
Well, and in either one of these, you would just be able to serve this for a nice brunch or breakfast with fruit, and you don't have to add a lot to either one of these to make it a great meal.
No. So then we will take these here, and it says 4 boiled eggs, and I'm going to just slice them both ways so they That's already chopped.
Egg slicers are awesome.
They are.
Not just for eggs either. Strawberries.
Anything on that order, absolutely. Mushrooms, sliced mushrooms. Now, this only says to bake at about 20 minutes. So it's going to be real close to the other one. We'll probably wait about 10 minutes before we put it in, so the time frame to take them both out will be about the same.
Okay.
But we'll have it ready to go. Okay. There. And I'll let you go ahead and mix that up there, Rhonda. I'm going to melt a tablespoon of butter.
Okay.
Because we're going to put some dry breadcrumbs into this.
And that's for the topping?
Right. Just to give that a little bit of crunch on there and stuff. So, and I already got my breadcrumbs right here. And so, because the breadcrumbs go on top, so we can actually just put that in there.
You got the biggest spatula known to man in here.
Okay. Yeah, we got that there. So I got that tablespoon of butter melted. I'm going to put my dry breadcrumbs in there and just go ahead and get them all just moistened up there with that butter, because then it's going to give it a even coat of the butter, and it'll brown just a little bit, you know, nicer and stuff. So
Okay.
and you know, it says a fourth a cup of dried breadcrumbs. You know, to me, I always like that extra crunch.
It'd be just easy, because it is just a toast bread.
I think you could. I wouldn't know why not. And I have more like a half a cup here than you know, just a fourth. Just because, you know, when you're putting that out, I want a nice even amount on there.
Sure.
And plus, buttered breadcrumbs are just great.
They are.
Final touch to everything. So, and this doesn't say, it says uncovered.
Okay.
So in about 8 more minutes, we're going to pop this in the oven with the other one. And then when it's all baked, we can bring it out.
All right. Sounds good.
Stay ahead of the game with ENG Lending, North Dakota's #1 choice for home loans. Let Jay and his home loan specialist help you when it comes to purchasing your new home or refinancing your existing one. Make the smart choice. Call ENG Lending at 456-LOAN. That's 456-5626.
Call 456-LOAN right now.
Country Rose Cafe on East Villard is open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Enjoy daily homemade specials, caramel and cinnamon rolls, several different kinds of homemade pies made fresh every day. Country Rose Cafe is also famous for homemade soup, including their ever-popular Nefla served every Tuesday. While you're in, make sure to pick up your Channel 18 Cooking Crave recipes and like us on Facebook for different specials and announcements. Country Rose Cafe, the way a cafe should be, located at 837 East Villard in Dickinson.
Our oven is going off, and we have the ham and egg casserole in there now, so we can take that out. Oh, that looks nice and hot, and you know, even the breadcrumbs have browned a little bit, so that's nice. We did take out the quiche, and it's set about for 5 minutes now, so we can cut into it. But as our viewers can see, you know, the puff pastry just puffs up a little bit more. It's not quite like a pie crust.
Right.
And that, but so it's going to be awesome. And we'll just, I think I'll just move this over a little closer here. And this one maybe set over here a little bit, just because Yeah, that. So we're gonna be able to take some of that out, and I'll cut into this. Yeah, this puff pastry really is nice and flaky.
Well, and it just browns so nice too. You didn't put anything on top, like an egg wash or anything like that, and it browned. And you didn't put anything around the edges either to prevent it from burning on the edges either.
I didn't. This was just the 45 minutes at 375, so that's great. And I'll let you take a little bit of the ham casserole out. So that's pretty much like a main dish.
It is.
And here's like a breakfast or a brunch or however. And the bottom is nice and flaky. The whole thing is looking good.
It is. It is. And again, super easy to make. If you prepare a little bit beforehand, you know, if you have extra ham and you chop it up and you have it for recipes like this.
Absolutely.
There's not a lot else that goes into it.
Right.
All right, just a little bit of preparation, and both of them were very easy to make.
It is.
All right. To get these recipes, just go to our website, consolidatednd.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for our viewers on the show, and your name will get submitted into a drawing for a Cooking Crave apron. Thank you always to our sponsors, and join us again next week when we do it all over again here on Cooking Crave.